Spacing inside of Flexi is extremely unique and honestly quite different than most other sections that you'll find either within a premium theme or in other section libraries. But part of what makes Flexi Flexi is how we do spacing, and honestly I believe you get the most flexibility out of spacing doing this method. So in this video I'm going to break down the method that Flexi uses, how to use it, and some of the best practices. So diving into the theme customizer here, if we go into the group card, off the bat, you'll notice that there is always a spacing setting. Under spacing, we always have top padding, bottom padding, left padding, and right padding. And you're able to adjust these sliders around if you want more padding in either direction. So if I add 16 pixels here, another 16 pixels there, we'll notice that the card will come in appropriately. So I'll do 16, 16, and 16. We'll notice that an appropriate amount of spacing is now applied around the whole card, especially if you want to add a background color. Additionally, there is a setting here called custom. And whenever we use custom inside of Flexi, what we're doing is actually setting our own CSS values. And so what this means here is there's a rule within Flexi that says padding within the CSS, and then we're able to adjust whatever CSS values we want. So for example, we could type in for rem and we could have tons of spacing around it. And if we go down to mobile, we can actually set our own custom spacing and padding around the card elements. And so we could then do 2 rem if we want slightly less padding than before. And so we'll notice that we were able to adjust it both on desktop and on mobile. Obviously, this is way too much padding, and this is just a demo. Additionally, you'll notice that under layout, there's this gap option here. With the gap option, you can adjust between basic and custom. Basic is just a predetermined amount of spacing that I see fit for this type of card, but custom is your own spacing. So if we take spacing down from what we had it, just so it's a little bit more reasonable to look at, we have this first setting here that is gap below image. So this is the spacing between the image and the content. So we could adjust this to 24 pixels if we wanted more spacing, and then there you go, you see the element shift down. The same is true with gap between blocks, and so this is the spacing between each one of the blocks within the card. So if we want no spacing, for example, we could do 0 pixels or just leave it blank. Hopefully this makes sense for spacing, and I know that it can be a little bit confusing off the bat, especially with these custom settings, but essentially what Flexi attempts to do is make spacing easy for merchants. So if you're watching this and you're a store owner, you could just simply stick with the sliders and the basic settings. If you're someone who's a little bit more advanced and you're a designer or some sort of freelancer agency person or someone who constantly is working on Shopify sites, I highly recommend that you get used to this custom option to make the most out of Flexi. And just from testing it out myself and building multiple stores with it, I find that can build insane different layouts that I couldn't before. So anyways, I'll end the video here, and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're curious about learning more about Flexi, or if you want to learn more about Flexi, you can also check out the documentation.